Welcome to the first episode of the Proof of Concept podcast by me, Valerie Madhoni. A brief introduction of me, your host. I am a 22-year-old Kenyan-American singer, rapper, and creative director that has been recording and performing music professionally since 2017. I've shared stages with renowned artists like Burna Boy, Nasty C, Sauti Soul, Lady Leisure, and so many more. As an independent, self-managing artist, I have experienced a lot in this Kenyan music industry, both good and bad. With the Proof of Concept podcast, my aim is to have insightful dialogue that will inspire understanding and new perspectives between the different stakeholders in the music industry, that is, artists, managers, event organizers, consumers, etc. With these conversations, I'm hoping to problem solve and discover practical and effective solutions for problems experienced by musicians in the Kenyan music industry. Without further ado, let's get into episode 1. The topic of today is the Kenyan music industry versus the government, speaking unions and activism and everything in between. And to have that conversation, I will be joined by Senator Crystal Asige. Crystal Asige is an award-winning Kenyan singer-songwriter formerly signed to Sauti Soul's label Soul Generation. She is also a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant, disability rights champion, accessibility auditor, and public speaker. Crystal seeks to create awareness around the intersectionality of being a young Black African woman and entrepreneur with an invisible disability living in the global South. I am looking forward to my insightful conversation with Crystal Asige as she brings us into the life of being an artist and an elected senator. But before that, a little music to get us going. Enjoy. And welcome back to the Proof of Concept podcast with me, Valerie Madhoni. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on where you're hearing this. I hope you're all right. And yeah, today we have a very special guest in our midst. Okay, with Shimiwa in our midst. Hello, we have the beautiful, the wonderful Miss Crystal. Welcome.
Hey, thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi.
Hey.
I've told the people a little bit about you and what you do, but in your words, who is Crystal Asige?
Crystal Asige is just a human being that is crazy about having people feel seen and heard, no matter their ability or disability, no matter their space, no matter their circumstance, the place they're at in life. Yeah.
Important. People like you. And so I knew you first as an artist making music, and I was literally giving you commending you earlier off record that your EP is amazing. So before we get into the EP, I want to take it back and know, like, how long have you been in this industry?
Oh gosh, good question. I would have to do the math, but a very long time. I think I've always been doing music since I was, my mom says about 3 years old. And so it's always been sort of in my blood, in my vicinity, in my space. But I decided to do it professionally once I was in university in the UK. And I started to go for these gigs in the evenings, open mic nights and stuff. It was the first time I really experienced an open mic night, in its full sort of
glory and excitement.
Yeah. And friends used to take me, and I was like, man, there's people out here who are just singing at a microphone with a guitar or a ukulele or whatever, and people are throwing cash into a hat, into a jar. And I was like, oh,
I like this.
Okay, I can make money just by singing. Okay, cool. So that's when I decided I would do it. I would try to do it professionally once I finished uni, and it's been 10 plus maybe.
Come on.
10 plus, yeah, definitely 10 plus.
Yeah, veteran in the game. I mean, 10 plus, you could say that's a century.
That's a decade.
A decade, my
Absolutely.
bad.
I love that. So wait, what were you studying in uni? I'm curious.
I was studying film and theatre
Wow.
in Bristol, yeah. And then after that, I worked at the BBC for a few years before coming back to Kenya.
As what?
I was in production management.
Okay.
So all that you're doing right now.
Right. This is very familiar right now.
Yeah. All the production, all of the stuff that you have to do, getting people in place, getting kit together, getting flights and accommodation and transport, and making sure that everyone is doing what they're supposed to be doing, basically. Yeah.
Okay, I love that. Would you still ever go back to film, or
absolutely
are you still in it?
It's in my purview for sure. Hollywood is in my future.
Amen. You better speak it into existence.
Absolutely. And as well, I think all of the work I did at BBC and in my degree also helps me now, because project management was at the core of it, right? How to put yourself together, how to put a project together, how to see something through from, design all the way through development and then into, full fruition. And that's what I do now. I just, whatever projects I'm doing, whether it's music, whether it's disability mainstream, whether it's parliament, I am always project managing in some capacity. So
I love that. See, stay in school, kids.
Yeah,
even
man.
if you want to be an artist, Mom, I want to sing. You can still be a singer with a very good background, education in different fields.
Yeah. Transferable skills is a real thing.
That's the word. Okay, so I started knowing you as an artist, and then lo and behold, like a month or two ago, I come across your video that I replied to. Actually, that's how we started. I feel like talking, and I found out that you are an elected senator in parliament.
I am. I'm in parliament, and it's been a year now. Very different space to be in. Okay, let me just make it clear.
Yeah.
It's very different, but it's an opportunity to basically do all that I've been doing, but on like a national platform, an international platform actually, because this title really does open doors.
Yeah,
to be honest,
it does. So let me ask now, have you always, like, since you're young, been like into politics, or was it just recently where you're like, I have things I want to change and this is the best way to do it?
I've never actually been into politics. I wasn't a kid thinking, oh my God, I really want to be,
be an MP.
Correct. It wasn't at all in my dreams, even my wildest dreams. But when I was doing, especially the disability advocacy and mainstreaming stuff, people were like, Crystal, you should try to, go into politics. Maybe a woman rep, maybe this, maybe that. And I was like, nah, friend, I'm a creative, man.
They saw the vision.
They did, yeah. And I think that's what people around you who really believe in you are supposed to do, right?
Absolutely.
See things that you can't see for yourself.
Absolutely.
So a few people were telling me that, and I was just like, sort of like brushing it off.
Whatever.
Nah. I'm a musician. People like me are supposed to sort of like just, sing about, express themselves, sing what's in their heart. Correct. And then a few, like a bit went by, and then a few people in my party as well were saying the same thing, and I applied, and here I am.
What was that final push that said, okay, I'm gonna do it? Was it a person was it a final conversation, or was it something you saw that just pushed you to like, I'm gonna do this?
It was my dad.
Oh.
Yeah, it was definitely my dad. I was like, do you think I could do it? I have this opportunity. I want to apply, but I'm scared. My mom was also a little bit like, oh, we don't know, because my baby in politics,
politics is crazy.
It's so muddy and murky and dirty and all that. She was just like, I don't know. But my dad was like, of course. He absolutely, with unequivocally, was like, of course, I can absolutely see you being in parliament, being a leader in our country. And I was like, wow, he was so sure. He didn't even have to take a breath. He
knew what he was talking about.
And he's like, you're probably more intelligent than half the people in there.
Facts.
And you have more passion than probably most people in there. So absolutely go for it, and we'll support you all the way. So that's why I did it, because of my dad. He was completely behind me, and he's never been so convicted or so sure about a thing that I'm doing, because when film and theater in uni, he was like,
I guess.
Right. Well, are you sure?
Sure.
What about law? What about what? I was like, no, Dad, I think this is it, man. This is it. So yeah, that's why.
Okay, wow. I think it's very, very rare that you hear a creative going into politics. That's why I was like, Asige, you are a rarity. So we had to come and open and get into your mind and really have a conversation so I can understand.
And I think for me the lesson there is don't be closed off. Be a bit flexible in life. Be adaptable. Be agile, because you don't know what life's going to throw at you. Even though you go in with a plan, okay, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to do it this way at this time for this amount of, for this period of time.
Yeah.
But you should still be sort of open to what the universe and what God has actually in store for you, because you're here for a purpose. You're not here for yourself. I think that you're here to like to sort of like finish or to complete an assignment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's sort of like, I think, the lesson from that I got from there, and also many other parts of my life and my life experience, which is just be open and allow your path to be given or created for you, instead of struggling and being like,
Yeah. Let God's plan prevail. Like, let alignment just take you,
Yeah.
surrender to their purpose, to your glorious purpose. So now it's been a year. You saw I'd assume you're getting your footing, or you've at least begin to get your footing. So how is it balancing the life of an artist Msanii and then MP Mheshimiwa? How is those two worlds like?
It's very difficult.
Coexisting.
Yeah, I don't know if they are coexisting, to be honest.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'm in the midst of it. It's very hard, especially just to carve out time for both, and to be present in both when you do carve out time. Because when I'm in studio, the phone will still ring. My teammates will still be sending, texts and emails and things like that, saying, hey, can you reply to this? What about this? Someone called about that. And so even if you are like I do in the evenings or weekends and whatever, when I'm free, I'm like, this is studio time.
Right.
Don't disturb me.
D&D.
But someone, the D&D still, when
you have to.
When a constituent wants to talk to you, they're just like, yo, I don't care if your phone is on D&D. I will keep calling until I get through.
There's almost no boundaries. There's no off time.
Yeah, my phone has definitely become like a payphone for sure.
Right. I can imagine. So I'm curious, as not only as an artist, I mean, first as a woman, then as an artist, but going into these spaces and being such an odd one out, you're such a special, like, it's not your everyday MP, honestly. How has it been relating with your peers in that in the parliament space? Are they friendly? Were they welcoming? Were they like, who is this artist at
First of all, I have no friends out there. No new friends, man.
It'd be like that.
Let's face it. I mean, let no one lie to you that in politics you will have a friend. No one is a permanent friend and no one's a permanent enemy. So it's not like I was going in there looking for my tribe or like, girlfriends to do sleepovers with.
It's work.
Correct.
And that's it.
Yeah. And I've had many politicians tell me, like, we're not friends, we're colleagues. And I'm like, ooh.
Oh, they made it clear.
Ooh.
Oh,
yikes.
wow.
Okay. So
they said, don't get it twisted. We're here for work only.
Exactly.
Damn.
So that is clear in my mind. But because at least that is clear in my mind, I'm able to then focus and maneuver and figure out, okay, how do I do this and how do I do the other thing? And yes, absolutely, at the beginning, I was being looked at as like, oh, how sweet.
Oh, Tim Sunny amekuja.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Oh.
Yeah. Until you made your voice known and they're like, oh.
Right. And there's something called a maiden speech in Parliament where it's your first time, to stand up and speak when the new the new term begins. And so you have 3 sessions in a week. Every Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday afternoon you're in Parliament in chambers. And so I took a lot of time to actually speak for the first time. And my party, my side of the coalition were like, Senator Asige, see you speak. Okay,
anytime now.
Are you going to speak today? No, I'm not ready. Okay, then the next day, are you going to speak today? No, I don't think I'm ready. It took me a while to actually drum up the courage. My knees were shaking the whole time I stood up to speak. But when I did speak, I think the entire chamber went silent. I don't know why. Maybe because they were like, gosh, there's a visually impaired girl can actually speak and actually express herself visually
assertively.
But since then, I think I've been slowly chipping away at people's perceptions, their stereotypes.
I love that.
Yeah. So and now a year in, there are lots of MPs, even those who worked with or studied with or mentored by my dad, because he's a lawyer.
Oh.
They're like, wow, Senator Asige. It's no longer
Asige.
Exactly.
It's Senator Asige on your own accord.
Correct.
Hello?
And also, I noticed that some women, unfortunately, they don't get called by their title. You get called by your first name. Like it'll be like, oh, hello, Valerie. And it's like,
No.
that's Senator Valerie.
Hello?
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So nowadays they actually put the title in front.
As
with-
they should.
I was like, yes.
Yeah.
It's been some time, but welcome.
Paid my dues, so you're gonna call me Senator. Hello.
So,
I
yeah.
love that.
Been
So,
good.
wow, it takes like doing. I think it takes a lot of courage. It's just like for me, I was thinking when you're saying like it took you some time, and then even when you got there, knees were shaking. It just reminds me of even being an artist when you're before you go on stage, you're nervous.
Yeah.
You're like, I have to pee.
Yeah.
You have to do what?
Even though
You're
you've
trying to
prepped.
breathe, even though you've prepped.
Yeah.
But then when you get on that stage, at least for me, I know I just all the fear goes away and I speak. I use my voice. And watching you speak in Parliament, it's the same thing. I was just like, yeah, I don't see no nervousness. She's speaking from her intelligent mind and very assertively, and I want
Nice.
to be behind whatever you're championing. So
Thank you. And I think that in my purpose, I think my bottom line is just using my voice to speak and to express and to articulate, right? It's my voice. Whether or not I am visually impaired now, even though my eyes have gone, my voice is still there, whether it's in music, whether it's in public speaking, in parliament, whatever it is. I think my purpose is totally attached to my voice.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
beautifully done. And you're using that voice. Killing it.
Thank you.
So speaking of even this artist career, artist life, your EP, Blinding Allure.
Yeah.
Listeners, if you have not listened, you need to stop what you're doing and go listen to the EP. It's beautiful. It's a quick listen, less than 30 minutes, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
My personal favorite is Different, like I was telling her with UI.
Tagiri.
That name usually just. But yeah. So what the title, Blinding Allure? Let's start there. What does that mean? Why is it that?
So allure is the ability or the essence of being powerful, being mysterious, just being something that draws you in. So when something is an allure, it's sort of like, there's something about it that I just can't take my eyes off of it.
Enticing.
Yeah, correct. So I decided to use that, and then of course put the blinding in front because my life, what people have told me anyway, is that my life it's such a twisty and turny journey that it's like, yo, she's just popped up and she's doing this and that.
And
now she's
here. Now she's a senator. What?
Yo, the last time I checked, you just like you said, the last time you checked, I was just doing music, and now 2 months ago you were like, yo.
Love that. Keep your enemies guessing. They never know your next move.
Yeah, man, keep them on their toes. So yeah, I put together Blinding Allure, and then of course it's a play on my visual impairment. But at the same time, it's like an opportunity or an homage to accepting all the layers of who you are and allowing them to shine and allowing them to really be visible to everyone.
Yeah.
Because we're all very layered, and I think that as human beings, we think that, if we grow up doing this or liking this, we can only be, in that box.
lane.
Correct. When actually, no, I'm a prime example of, if you just decide today, I want to do this and I'm going to put my energy towards it because I feel like there is a purpose here and there is a direction here. Go for it. Yeah. So it's all of those things, and it's, of course, about self-worth and being able to just celebrate all parts of you. Don't hide who you are, what you are, what you want. Yeah,
absolutely. So Young King, I was telling you earlier that is my song. I know I'm a rapper, so hearing you rap and doing it's like poetry. It's beautiful. I started out as a spoken word artist, then as a rapper. See, that's why I resonated so heavy. Who, very random, not even on the list of questions, but who is a rapper that you like, that you admire? Nas, I totally see that. He's that guy.
Shoot, I made you look.
Come
you
on.
Slave to a page in my rhyme book. Getting big money, playboy your time.
That's your son.
Oh my gosh, I love him, man.
That's a legend, and I think he just even put out an album. Or something.
He's been putting out stuff with Hit Boy. They've been together, like cooking all like King's Disease,
longevity,
1, 2, 3.
proper longevity. Those are the goals.
The time I also watched, I got to watch just before I came back and relocated to Kenya. I was invited to go to Wireless Festival in London. Huge, multi-stages, etc. Yeah, and so on the main stage, the headliner was at the time Jay-Z when he was when he had Holy Grail with Justin Timberlake. So they were there.
Whoa.
You should have seen me. There were some Nigerian blokes around me, and they were like, "Yo, you know all the lyrics to these songs." And I'm just like, "Yo,
big, bro. What do you mean?
This is Jay-Z."
Wait, how long were you in the UK before you moved to Kenya?
I went about 7 years, almost 7 years. Yeah.
So around what year you came back?
It was 2013 when I came back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the choice? Why'd you decide it was time to come back?
I think because I wanted to bring all that I've learned home, and also I miss my family, my parents. You know, getting older, and everyone's sort of like living a life, and I didn't want to like keep missing out on it. So it was a multiple reasons basically behind me coming back, but wanting to bring all my knowledge home, number one, and number two, also wanting to make sure that I spend time with my family, my people.
Absolutely.
And try to just open up the space for disability mainstreaming and acceptance of people who are different from you. So yeah,
and you're doing it.
Thanks, boo.
Yeah, I would love to see it, boo. Okay.
Thanks.
So now as we shift into even just like talking about the music industry and all that, I want to start off on a positive, which would be like, what would you say is your favorite part about the Kenyan music industry or the Kenyan entertainment industry at large? What do you love about it? Even though I know this industry is quite it's a bit trying and wanting sometimes.
It's a bit heartbreaking, man. But
Very,
at times,
I know.
What I love about it is the ability for young people to be able to really propel themselves through their talent. The acceptance part of it, I feel, though it is hard to break through, I feel like if you have a core base, they really do carry you forward.
It's true.
Yeah, the sustainability is like I don't know. But the beginning, when you find a person and they're really dope and they support you through your little open mic nights,
the passion.
Yeah. That for sure is really cool. And I love how almost every person I meet I'm from Mombasa, right? That's my county, and that's where I was born. Everyone I meet in Mombasa, a young person, yo, I'm a rapper, yo, can you listen to my, and I'm just like, yeah, there's so much talent here.
So much come up talent for sure.
And you'll find that lots of artists and creatives actually come from the coast. Whether it's Mombasa, Kilifi, Malindi, and they come and they, migrate to Nairobi because of opportunity and stuff. But I love how us Coastarians, we don't want.
It's true. Your Coastarians are lit. There's so many even Nairobi artists that are my friends that are from Trava, from Kilifi. I'm like, wow, what is in the waters? What is in the ocean there? Okay, well, so yeah, I had to start us on a positive note because we're really about to get into the stickiness. But we can take a little break right there, and we shall be back with our special guest on the Proof of Concept podcast.
You would have us forget, you would have us make it easier, have us regret, you would never say her name, you would have us forget how the mothers pressure freed their sons and daughters caught in torture chambers. Talk about it. Yeah, we've always been great for a long time now, but you always debate for a long time now what a woman should make, what a woman should take, but you never ask a woman what a basic mistake. Naona chenye mimi sitadu ni kuargue na mafala busy body like you. Wale wanafikiria sindiria ni weakness, ni better ni speak less, my actions more witness. Keep saying not the right time, you keep telling us not the right time, you keep saying not the right time, you keep telling us not the right time. I'm my own fix, I'm my own fixer, write my own script, write my own scripture, and I'm so sick, getting more sicker, see the whole mix, see the whole picture, getting loud, getting louder, getting loud, getting louder, getting loud, getting louder, getting loud, getting louder. Power, 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 sisi ndio power, watoto wa hao ndio sisi hao. This time hatuchoki, this time hatuogopi, pesa hatukopi, tena hatusoti. Ngumu kunishika kwanza jenga kasi vi, mna presha ya kumari batatu jiski. Mtabaki mukicheki, shinda mkidibeti, penye ni nageti, pesa ya kibeti. For the women who can be for us, who do the work for us, who make make it work for us. This one for the women who can be for us, who built the world for us, who made it work for us. I'm my own fix, I'm my own fixer. Write my own script, write my own scripture. And I'm so sick, getting more sicker. See the whole mix, see the whole picture. Getting loud, getting louder, getting loud, getting louder, getting loud, getting louder, getting loud, getting louder. You would always forget, you would never say a name, you would always forget. You would never say a name, you would always forget. You would never say a name, you would always forget. Talk about it. You have never been straight. You keep telling us wait. Then you switch up the date to make choker. Then you tell us we hate one another. You blame us. You keep trying to shame us to erase us. Oh, you would have us believe there is something to be we can never achieve. Oh, you would have us believe there is something to be we can never receive.
Welcome back to the Proof of Concept podcast. And we are here with special guest, Senator Crystal Asige.
Hey.
She's giving me stories and learning a lot from her. And I was like, let's just take a break before we get into the thick of it. Right. So even the Proof of Concept podcast is about having conversations with the stakeholders in the music industry to sort of give the consumer or the listener an understanding of how these things operate. Because oftentimes it's very shiny and made out to seem like, wow, I'm sunny, but there's so many problems and issues that I would love to fix. And I feel like this is my contribution in trying to fix these things.
Mm-hmm.
So, the first one is there's been a conversation, or rather a looming conversation in the background when we talk about like, oh, why don't artists do world tours like in a Beyonce? When they come to Africa, they only go to South Africa. Or when Trace Awards happens, it only happens in Rwanda. When they want to bring Kendrick Lamar, the global citizen, they're doing it in Rwanda. And it begs the question, like, we have the music, we are literally the hub of East Africa and creativity. Why don't we have these events and these companies investing in Kenya? And it's unfortunate, but I had a conversation recently with one of these conglomerates that had an award show in Rwanda, and he was like, even though we don't have offices in Rwanda and our headquarters are in Nairobi, we can't do an event here because we don't have the facilities. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, even if we have an indoor venue of like for more than, say, even 10,000 people, it's not just about the venues. That the Kenyan government at the moment hasn't made enough goodwill or shown enough goodwill or investing in the creative industry, in the music industry, or rather hasn't invested in a serious way to have companies be like, oh, okay, Kenya is, they're facilitating, So it's quite sad, and I'm just like, is it true we really don't have? I'm like, Kenya, we have so much. Is it true we really don't have the facilities? I don't know if you've ever heard of any of this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with that take completely. I think that, if you think about it, how many stadiums? Can you name one arena in Kenya that could host like an Adele, for example?
They only think of KCC.
Right.
Like,
and that's not a concert hall at all, you see. So I agree on the part about facilities. Kenya has never actually invested and actually thought from the highest level, hey, creative sector, it's actually something that we need to prioritize, something that needs to, that if we invest in it, it'll have a huge return on investment. We always think about football. We think about, of course, it's a very heavily political country, rallies and stuff. And we only think about music when it comes to like, when it
they need entertainment
feeds into exactly those other sectors or those other activities, but not music on its own. And so we don't have an arena, we don't have proper like concert spaces, we don't actually have whether it's indoor or outdoor. And even around, even if we had an actual structure, like a huge dope ass arena, we do not have, the equipment. Gigs, when you look for equipment for gigs, you only, me personally, I think of like 2 or 3 people that I can call, who I can absolutely rely on to give good sound, to give to give
And even in a large scale, you can't even imagine. Like
exactly. And so with those just basic things that are not there, these basic infrastructures that aren't there, then it becomes difficult for anyone outside to say, hey, let's bring Ice Spice, let's bring whomever, to Kenya, because we can't hold those people.
Systems you don't have.
Yeah. And then also we don't actually have a legal framework for the creative industry at all. And so if we don't have a foundation, think of a house. You cannot build a room and decorate and do the finishings and, have it look and feel and, be amazing if you don't actually have the foundation that is built correctly. And the foundation for me means a legal framework, a framework that actually governs how the music industry or the creative industry as a whole will run, what it'll look like, how we're going to support young people, exactly, policies, where you're going to get sort of like investments or funding from, where you can go to seek legal redress if you need it, things like that. And so if you don't have the foundation, then how are you supposed to build an amazing house, which on this street, aka the music industry, people will be like, yo, I love that house down the street, man. Have you seen that house, Kenya? Kenya, yo, it's dope. We need to go there and rent it and party there and bring, So that's also another issue I think that is really hindering us and holding us all the way back, because even though there's other markets that have come way before us, way after us, we have in the 80s, in the 80s, Kenya was doing fantastic. Early 90s, Kenya was doing really good. Our Isas, our Namelesses, music was being exported from Kenya, and people were really like, yo, bring so-and-so over, bring so-and-so over. But we didn't sustain it. We didn't know how to sustain it and grow it from there. And then we end up sort of like stagnating, because now we can think of, 6 top A-list artists in Kenya, when, for example, Nigeria, who came way after us, who came after and completely surpassed us, you can't just name, when you say Nigeria, you cannot just name 6 artists. You're just like, yo, there's so many, and they're all so dope, right, and they all support each other and they collaborate. That's another thing that is an issue in Kenya. Our actual artists, we don't collaborate the way, we don't pull each other up the way Nigerians do. For example, there was last year this story on, I don't know if you saw it online, where Wizkid was invited to perform at the O2 in the UK. And in his negotiations, he actually said, if you want me to come, I'm going to have to bring so-and-so, I'm going to have to bring Rema, I'm going to have to bring Olamide, I'm going to, and it became a full package. Like, if you're going to bring me, I need these people to come. I come with my people. I come in with a set.
Yeah, as you should.
Yeah, but with Kenyans, if one Kenyan decides or gets an opportunity to perform in Europe or whatever, we don't do that.
We take what we can get, and then we're like,
we're just happy to be here. We're just like, I'm just happy to be here, man. I just take what I can. So I think that also mindset amongst us as creatives ourselves also needs to change, because we're not going to move anywhere if we're not going to work together and do it collaboratively at all. And that's a huge issue. What I'm trying to say is the big picture. What is good for the big picture? If right now we have really like 10 of these artists who are hot in Kenya, then let us as a collective say, if you get a contract, don't go under this rate. That's the first thing. Don't undercut each other. Okay? Because everyone will always take, 10K less, 50K less just to secure a gig. Do not have a bar and have that bar remain, that standard remain. And then number 2, if you're a collective and you have a standard that's set, so that whether Safaricom comes, whether Coca-Cola comes, whether whoever comes, they know in Kenya, this is the bar. Okay? And they've decided that we're not going to go lower than that. So that when that is already established, and then you go, okay, if I, as Crystal, I'm been invited to Australia to do 1, 2, 3, I'm going to take 3 women acts, 3 young females, because that's who I am. I understand the struggle. That's where I'm from. And in my contract, I write that in. And also these 3 acts need to understand that we're not all going to get paid, $40,000, right? There's steps to this, there's levels. And even in Nigeria, you'll hear them to speak. I mean, I keep referring to them because they're just really good.
They're at the top right now. Them in South Africa are literally
and they tell stories about how, when so and so was upcoming, they were taking gigs for low. They were saying,
Yeah.
okay, so long as you can pay for my
Transport, yeah.
exactly my overheads, just give me some transport, give me some accommodation. It's cool, feed me, whatever. I'll be there because
Yeah.
I know when I get opportunity at that stage, I will
Yeah.
rock that stage so hard. People
Yeah.
like it will
I'll
be
get gigs. It will return more than it
correct.
has.
It'll be an ROI.
Yeah.
And so as well our mentality in that space, because we see, like you said at the top of this conversation, the optics for us are more important for some reason. We want to look good, we want to look like we have the car, we're in business class, you know, we've got the fit, nini, and that's more important. Optics are more important to us than actually having the nuts and bolts in place and actually growing and having it be sustainable.
Yeah.
That's so there are those issues, but I still think there's power in numbers when you work as a
Absolutely.
collective.
Absolutely. And that's why even like a lot of the things you were mentioning, like having a standard rate, a lot of those things are made possible with things like unions, a musician union, which we'll get into in a bit.
Yeah.
But I agree. I feel like this Kenyan industry of ours, it's so special, it's so ripe, it's so bursting at the seams with creativity and potential and ideas. We have it all. We have the music quality. People are working on the videos. People are releasing EPs. Shut Up Lightning Galore, you know.
Yeah.
And we have it. It's just that it's just that foundation of legal systems, like proper collection, royalty collection, CMOs, you know, and you know, working closely with people in office of like Ministry of Events or of, you know, culture.
Yeah.
To make sure like the Kenyan creatives are supported, or even not even creatives, but even the sports athletes, you know, sometimes, not even sometimes, more often than not, when they travel to these games or Olympics abroad, they are treated so like, you know.
I know sports athletes who have actually, they've been told, we are going to X, where whether it's Olympics or FIFA or East Africa Games, whatever, we're going, you get your visa done, your passport is ready, you're given, you know, the outfits, the uniforms,
flag bearers,
everything. You've said you've done your harambe, you've done your prayer meetings at home with your family. They've done all the things for you, and then you get to the airport and you're told, I'm so sorry, so and so, but your position has been revoked. And you're at the airport, you have packed, you've told people goodbye, they've prayed for you.
Ama, you go, you actually, Mama, you manage to go to these countries, then you have to sleep in the airport for CG because either you're transferred back or your accommodation is not sorted. Like, really, we can avoid this embarrassment. We don't need Kenyans to have to go abroad so that they can enjoy being an artist or being an actor like Lupita or being an influencer. Like, we need to make those systems work here, you know?
And then, like you said, like Lupita, when a Kenyan does well outside through their own effort, through like private means and just, you know, grinding it out, wait till Kenyans are like, oh, huyo ni wetu.
They're claiming, hey, at Kenya flag marks under the comment section.
We all now we become like, you know, proud to be Kenyan. You know, people see flags on their Instagrams.
You know, it shouldn't. Eliud Kipchoge's biggest check shouldn't come from Nike, or it shouldn't come from. It should come from the tourism magical Kenya. You know, so I think even as I segue into the next question is, for me, what I think one of the things we need to make these systems work is have people in these government positions or people in parliament who are actually passionate about, you know, the creative scene and the music scene, whether the actors, whatever. And so that's why I'm very grateful that you are now one of the people in those positions. It's very rare. Yeah. You know, people, they get into parliament for a bag or for, I don't know, whatever reasons people get into it for. Yeah. But that's a big step, having people in those positions that care and actually want to move the culture forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And in any space, in any sector in Kenya, I mean, when you select a leader and when you vote for them, when you're running and people are supporting you in that regard, then how can you then forget about the people who put you there? They're literally the only reason that you're there. Absolutely. And of course, people make promises, you know, that are far and wide, very far-fetched in Nini, because of course they want to entice and and then when you get there, you don't see that leader forever. You literally are just like,
they disappear with their promises.
Absolutely. and you know, like you say, everyone is here for their own agenda. You don't know what they actually want until they get there, and then by the time you realize, it's too late.
Yeah,
because what you're gonna do, you have to wait for the next 5 years to go by to re-elect or to elect somebody else.
And by then they'll rebrand into another new promise.
Correct. Yes, looking for a new position, looking to, you know, you just maneuver in the same sort of political space, and it's really a shame. And I keep praying to God, like, yo, every time I wake up in the morning, I'm just like, just God, protect me.
Yeah.
Give me wisdom. Like, you know, steer me away from temptations and from just things that you haven't put me here for. You know, let me be focused. Those kinds of prayers,
to be guided,
they're really important to me, because trust me, every day is a struggle.
It's a battlefield. You're there fighting with the devil.
And then you get people unappreciative Kenyans in your DMs like, oh, you blah da 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 da. You know,
seriously,
you haven't given me a job. I emailed you 2 weeks ago, and I'm still,
girl.
Hey, and I'm just like, you guys.
I'm only one person.
I'm only one person. You
can't do it all. Even if I have an assistant, I can't do it all.
Anyway, but it's okay, because it comes with territory, and I understand it, because everyone, you know, has high expectations, and everyone has a need, their own need. My need is always the most important to me over yours, and your need is,
and as it should be.
Exactly. So I get the frustrations, but at the same time, I think that I've had lots of at least support and people believing and seeing the work through merit. I have not been somebody who is, you know, leaning on makiki and, you know, the gimmicks, the games, the, you know, the drama, whatever.
Cut and play.
Yeah, I just know I'm here for a reason. I'm still regular. I'm still that chick.
Still
even
me.
as we sit right now, I only have one sock on, because when I was coming in the morning,
keep it real with the people. Yes,
I was rushing out the door because I was trying to return phone calls and people looking for jobs, sending me their CVs. Gosh. I picked up my Converse and I thought my socks were tucked in. Kumba is only one tucked in, so I currently have my right
one
foot
on.
without a sock and the left with a sock.
I love that. It's okay. See, Bora, you are walking and you are walking with purpose. Sock or no sock, you are still good.
Yo, I'm out here. I'm just serving the people.
Come on, she has to let you know. She's just like you
one
and me.
One sock at a time.
You one sock at a time. Hey, put that on a t-shirt. That's merch. Okay, so I mentioned I came across the Musicians Union proposal.
Yep.
Video, which I'll insert here for the people.
Speaker, with this context in mind, the proponents of the Kenyan Musicians Union sought to create a platform that would solely focus on our concerns. They applied to the Registrar of Trade Unions to register this union, aiming for official recognition. By law, the registrar invited objections. The Kenyan Union of Entertainment and Music Industry Employees initially rejected but withdrew their objections after there was clarification that it was not to replace them, but to focus exclusively on music issues. Shockingly, Speaker, the registrar inexplicably refused to proceed with the registration, leading to this court dispute. Mr. Speaker, every Kenyan has the constitutional right to freedom of association, as outlined in Article 36 of our Constitution. I am pleased to note that the High Court of Kenya recognized this fundamental right and acknowledged the importance of the proposed union in representing musicians' interests. Regrettably, this matter should not have escalated to a court dispute, but it has, and the court has delivered a judgment. Now, our collective attention must be to take the next steps by all parties involved. I urge honorable members in this House to put considerable effort into looking into the plight of musicians in their counties, including championing for those who are trying to unionize. Further, I also seek the support of colleague senators when I bring legislative proposals on creative industry matters to the floor of this House. And the musicians, I urge you to remain vigilant and take advantage of the present opportunity to find strength in numbers. Musicians deserve to have their voices heard and their interests protected by an entity that genuinely understands and advocates for their worth. I thank you.
And I would really want us to get into this, because that is really one of the main reasons I have you here, because I'm so interested in it, and I feel like so many musicians would also be interested in. So you proposed a Kenyan Musicians Union, although you said that there was one first it's founded in the 1960s.
Yeah.
So What brought you? I mean, I know why we need a musicians union, but what made you the decision to propose this in Parliament?
Because of personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think the wearer always knows where the shoe pinches.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in the industry for some time now. I've been building and, working and growing mostly on my own for most of it. And I understand the hoops and hurdles that artists have to go through in this industry here in Kenya. And I believe that because of the hurts and whatever I've gone through, fighting alone, feeling like, I'm just a little kid in this huge pool of big boys or whatever. Yeah. And when you look for support, when you look for guidance, when you look for mentors, everyone sort of like keeps things close to their chest. They don't want to share that, whether it's knowledge or opportunity or just ideas. It's quite difficult to maneuver, right? And then when you get into situations where you do need like legal representation or advice, support, then there isn't anything to lean back on or to fall back on.
It's expensive too.
Exactly. But if there were a union, when you look at when I did a comparative in other jurisdictions, France and UK and America or whatever, unions work. They're there for a reason, so that you can, like I said, work as a collective and bargain as a collective and complain as a collective and take a stance as a collective, because that has way more power than just a crystal saying, hey, this is my rate, I believe that I deserve this.
And they're like, it's been working for us and we've been paying this peanuts, why are you coming to tell us something
Crystal,
different?
Me, I'll go to so and so literally next door, and she'll do it for half the price or quarter or a fraction. And so that was the inspiration behind it. Like I said, the trauma sort of informed it. Shame it came from trauma, but all the same, it's fine.
It's fine. We're here now.
There's some types of pain that hurt you, and there's other types of pain that change you. And I think that that's what I use my pain for, to be like, okay, cool, that happened, but now what am I going to do about it? Because I understand it in this very in this very practical way. I get it's not just some theory that I heard and I watched on TV.
You've lived it.
Correct. And so that's why I brought it to the house of the floor. The floor of the house.
You brought it
to the house.
To the house.
To the floor.
Yeah, but the floor in the house, whichever it is. Yeah, but for those listening, a musician union, it can help in so many ways. Getting fair pay, legal advice. What else?
Being able to bargain in terms of health cover, these types of things,
insurance.
Loans, looking for loans as a collective, because no one's going to give a musician a loan of 300K to go and write a song and to do a music video,
especially not in Kenya.
Banks are just like, excuse me, sir, no, that is not something that is a sure bet, unfortunately, because our industry is not built up that way. It's not set up that way at all, because teachers have unions, manufacturers have a union,
everybody got
employers
a union that
have
works.
a union, correct, and they are doing and making it work for them and doing it well. But musicians were still sort of very much, man eat man type of situation,
individualistic,
correct.
Almost.
And so it would help in all of those ways, even just doing things like trainings. Right now in the UK, they're training through the union, like people are coming to train union members on AI and how that will affect the music industry, how that will affect copyright and IP. And we're not even us, we're still struggling with royalties.
Dude,
and like CMOs.
Surely, I was just like, another thing is like, finally with this fight with CMOs, we can have a better stand, because they were taken to court, they got back their license. We're back at square one, and it's like, we can't, like you said, individually we really truly can't fight this system that they've been eating for years, know.
It's very difficult. And as well, when you go into parliament and these committees or these members of parliaments are the ones sort of like holding the key to these kinds of interventions or changes, then you find they've had a conversation with so-and-so over a cup of tea, over a glass of whiskey somewhere in some corner. They've been saying, those
those
make this disappear. I'll give you a quick cut, and we'll go back to status quo.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult to work with people, especially members of parliament, who don't get it.
Or don't care.
Or don't care. But if you had members of parliament who actually are in there for the right reason and they understand their subject matter, whether that is agriculture, whether it's energy, whether it's the creative industry, if you have somebody who's representing and gets it, okay, then they're able to advocate for you in a different way than just a person
who's removed from they don't they don't have any stakes in it. I saw you mentioned that at first when you proposed this, it was rejected. The motion was rejected.
No, so what I was saying was that there was a union before, and the one you said about the one that was started in the 60s, and because it's been dormant, nothing has happened with it. And in Kenya, the law says that if you have one kind of union, you cannot duplicate. So you can't have two musicians unions, or you can't have two manufacturers unions. It just has to be one. And so this one was created in the 60s, and unfortunately, it covers entertainment. So that is everything.
So it's just one entertainment union for all of them.
Correct. Yeah, we're all bundled in there, and we're all stuck as a result of it being about the entertainment in general. So whether you're a dancer, filmmaker, artist, everything, right? It's not segmented like it should be, like a Kenyan musicians union, then a film union, and then a actors
should be.
Yeah, whatever. So because we're stuck in this place where this union has been set up, registered, it's been running for so many years, even though not really running, just like alive, existing, correct? Then when other musicians decided a few years ago, like, hey, we need one for musicians alone, because our needs are really different from the film industry, for example. We can't all be bunched in together. When they tried to go to the heads of this union, they were given the
it works. Leave us alone.
What are you trying to say? And so they took it to court to then challenge, to the courts. To separate, but then also to challenge that they've not been working. They've just been dormant for 30,
and are they
40
receiving
years.
funds?
Well, I don't actually know how they're receiving money, but I'm sure that there is a way that they are getting sponsorships. Able to just divert and get and maneuver through the system, right? Because they're the only entertainment union right now. And so they went to court, and at first the court rejected and said, no, it looks like you're trying to duplicate, so all these different reasons. But then recently in August this year, after they returned and appealed that first decision, the judge did grant that union should be established and be licensed, and that the registrar of unions basically allow them to open. But now we're waiting for the registrar of unions to actually give the documentation over. And that is taking
forever.
I don't know why. I don't know if that office has been compromised, or who knows who's aunties with who. So it's quite a struggle. But artists, I like their resilience, man. My question was even like where we're at now with this union. So the registrar of unions, please just do the thing. We need to, by next year, we need to have that documentation now, so that January we hit the ground running, and we can start recruiting members. And when that happens, we need to recruit members and leadership of that union that will work for us. That won't do another CMO
situation.
Correct. Where you put them up there and then they just sit pretty. And like I say, they're in positions that have people who don't actually care or are not there for the right reasons. And so we also, as creatives, need to make sure that we're empowering the right people. I don't know how, because everyone changes when
power and money comes in play, things get a bit sticky and different. Truly, it has to be God ordained people.
Correct.
Because one of the questions I was gonna ask was, how can we make this union work much more effectively than the one that has been existing before? And you're right, hiring people or putting people in those places that are actually know what they're there for and are diligent in that work and consistent.
Correct. That I can find, I can pick up my phone and say, hey, chair of the KMU, this is my problem. I've been having this issue at hospital, or I've been having an issue getting a loan. What does the union constitution say about, how we can do this as a collective? Boom. Hey, treasurer, I'm having issues with 1, 2, 3 as a member of this union. Can you help me fix it? Boom. Being able to actually have access to the leadership of that union when it comes about.
So when we do, because me, I am very much praying and putting all my effort to make sure this happens and manifesting, and so once we get that in play, what position will you play in the musicians union, since you're the one who brought the
matter up?
Yes, the call to the floor.
I think I don't know. I think that will have to be a decision that is a stakeholder, sort of like a collective decision.
Yeah.
I would obviously love to be able to sit in a position where I can help and make change and provide leadership and serve in that way. However, there are people have been obviously pushing for this for a long time. It's not just me. There's several voices. People who started this fight, years ago. The likes of, Dana Seda, all these sort of like people who are diehard musicians, enthusiasts of music, all of it.
Yeah.
And they also have a lot of insight and institutional memory, if I can say. They've been in this game so long, they know,
they've seen all the errors and
So I think we need a mixture of people who have experience, people who are fresh and have new ideas and young, correct? So diversity in terms of gender, of course.
Yes.
We don't need to be, a manel.
Yeah.
I usually say, instead of a panel, I say a manel. We don't want manels anymore.
Yeah, we don't do manels. Come on.
We want people to the leadership of the union to represent,
be reflective of its people.
Yes. Of all of its members, not just the ones that, have made it, or the A-listers or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so whatever way it does go, all I need to know is that I'm in there and my voice is being heard, whether I'm just voting with my one vote as a member, or I'm in leadership, or I'm in the peripherals supporting from within parliament. I don't know,
doesn't matter as long as you're there, you'll be there.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I'm looking forward to it, and I really hope that that's another issue that I've also seen since raising that issue on the floor. Not many people have actually come and said, "Hey, we saw this thing. How can we support?" You're one of very few who DM'd me, who reached out.
Really?
Yeah.
You'd think the way artists always complain about all the problems we have, that when they see a solution present itself.
We are in the struggle Olympics.
Oh,
we are in. If you open our WhatsApp group today for lamentations, the conversation will flow. And me, this happened to me, and then
the complaining is there, but the action is missing.
Totally.
Yeah. My last question on that musicians union was even asking, how can musicians join and support this union? Do we need to be loud about making writing letters to the register of union, like, hey, we need
absolutely. That is one thing you can totally do.
Expedited, like,
I can after this give you the address.
Yes, please.
The person to put at the top of the paper. Who to CC. Where to drop it off. If you want to do it in person, don't email a person. Just go and have it dropped off physically.
Yeah.
Put pressure.
Yes.
Because the order is there. The court has ruled in our favor, and we just need action to be done. To be had.
It's already been decided.
Exactly. So that's one way. Writing letters, shouting about it online, tagging, putting pressure in that way. Another way is as well coming together as a collective. Even if, for example, let's say, even if there was a union, within the union having like smaller caucuses, for example, like women, under 25 women or something, producers, you have like so that we are working in smaller sort of like, not silos, but smaller groups. And then whoever is leading that under 25 women producer caucus, they have one spokesperson who then comes to the wider sort of like group and says, okay, as the 50 of us young under 25 producer who are female, we say that this is important to us, we want to push this agenda, and then myself, I might be like, women from the coast. I don't know. It might be like, men,
we need
whatever.
People's representatives. Yeah,
exactly.
Because we're so diverse
union,
in this musician.
Instead of everyone just shouting and yelling at all of their voices, and then there is no movement because we're all talking and there's too much noise because all of us want to have a
chefs
say
in the kitchen.
Correct. So that's also something that we need to organize ourselves. In short, we need to be organized. We need to be strategic. We need to be intentional with our communication, the narrative we want to put out, our asks, our recommendations on how to improve this industry, and have people who are sober minded. Don't just come in there to yell. Bring facts, bring comparatives, problem solving. Yes, can't bring solutions. Yeah, because we're tired of the lamentations.
Right.
It's a book in the Bible. It's fine. Let's leave it there.
Yeah, we must be about it. You can't just be talking about it. This is me. This podcast is what is me being about it and me trying to get to the bottom of.
And it's awesome. Having these conversations is really good so that you can then go away. You're sort of like creating a mind map of some kind. You're writing down notes. You're plotting it down somehow so that when you bring your voice to this conversation, you're like, you know what? I've had XYZ conversations with all these diverse people, and these are the solutions that I am recommending. I'm proposing 1, 2, 3, and 4. Informed
solutions, not just from my perspective.
Yeah.
I feel like there were other questions, but we've already taken some time. So I want to wrap up with just like two questions. Number one, I would love you to please give a shout out to a person in the industry who you believe deserves their flowers for what they do or simply who they are, someone that makes the space a better place.
I want to shout out Wudamolo. He's my producer.
Wudamolo, I know him. Love that.
He is so dope. I keep telling him, and I'll continue telling him, that every time I go into studio with him, it's like a little sacred place. He accepts me for who I am. He doesn't ask me many questions. Yo, can you come and help me? You know, there's this Ishida Moshimi. He just takes me as Crystal, who he's known for several years now. Yes. And when I go in there, we just jam. It's open, it's vulnerable. He's like, what do you feel today, man? Let's put it down on wax. You know, like this. And he's super funny. Makes me forget all my troubles.
I love
that guy is funny, man. No one knows him like they should know him, but people know this name Wudamolo, but they don't know the face. He's like a simple guy, so chill, so humble, you know, God-fearing. We sit there, we pray together. Sometimes we sing gospel music together in the breaks. We eat our chapo beans. That's beautiful. Soda, you know, it's a time.
That's how it should be. I think it's a blessing when you get to have a producer-artist relationship that's more than just music. It's I'm having this is a safe space, almost like therapy.
It is. That's exactly what I tell him. When I come into studio, I even forgot who I am and what responsibilities I have.
Your problems.
Yes, I'm just here and I'm in the moment and I'm present. And he makes me just feel just like a normal person. Peace. Yeah, man. And he's dope. And then you find out that he makes bangers.
He's a talented guy.
He's monstrous.
Yeah, he's a bad man. You should go check out. That's been a great segue. Usually I ask my guests to leave us with a Kenyan song dedication to the listeners. It could be your song, could be someone else's. Something that they're listening to during the intermission.
Ooh. Gosh, I would have said one of mine, but it's not actually out yet.
You could, not the you could give us the unreleased if you're feeling generous. Also, it's no problem.
Can I sing it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when it comes out, people know what it sounds like.
Okay,
it's called Better, and I'll be releasing it probably in 2024.
Okay.
And the first verse goes, "What are we waiting for when all we have is time? Why should the day be gray? So much color left to find. Why go through this alone when you and I make two? Oh, let me be the one you reach your hand out to. I know it's hard sometimes. It happens to me too. You're trying everything, but nothing seems to move. There are two types of pain. One comes and crushes you, and then the other one that comes and changes you. Are now better, Andy, better."
Cheers! What? And I saw the quote that you gave there.
Yes.
There's some pain that hurts you, and the other that changes you. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. I really thank you so much. I enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you. So did I. I really appreciate, and I want to congratulate you on all the fantastic things that you're doing. By the way, we see you, we celebrate you. I mean, yo, 1 week, 500,000.
Come on,
and climbing.
we are on the road. We're on the way up. Moving on now.
What is happening here? Why are we even sitting in? You should be on. You should be on some TV show, being praised, given your flowers.
Yes, Miss
being
Crystal.
flown out to Dubai for gigs.
On.
Listen,
that is the life. You know, we need to make this money in USD.
And then in that flight, you're laying down
Come
in that
on.
business
First class in
What's an idea at you're reclining a seat? I want to lay down.
I'm trying to get like you. Me, I've been seeing you all over the world, stream meeting Rio Ferdinand, who. Yeah, we're trying to get like you. But I'm so thank you so much for making your time.
Thank
out of
you.
Your busy week schedule.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, these gems are what I pray people will reflect on, and this is like a documentation of where we are in this moment in the Kenyan music.
Yeah.
industry.
And also I want to just finish off by telling artists, right, who are listening in whatever capacity you are in this industry, like you need to know yourself, man.
Important.
You really need to know yourself, and you need to have a team around you who you respect their opinion, who can say no, you're doing that wrong,
hold you accountable,
you're going the wrong way, you're wilding, by the way.
Come on,
that's crazy.
The
and
truth.
And you'll actually listen to them, not just yes men, people who are there because when they love you, you give them what they need, right? And so you need to know yourself, and you need to understand what you will take, what you won't take, like you said as well, boundaries and standards. I'm not going to go below this. It's okay if you're going to find somebody who can do that for less, or
do you?
It's cool. You know, we'll see you later. You're not the one for me. I say in an ecosystem, when you say no, I hear next.
Come on.
Right?
Thank you, next.
So thank you, next.
Thank you, next. I love that. What a gem.
So please, artists, don't undervalue yourself, because if you undervalue yourself, it's the entire ecosystem that then, takes a step back. Yeah, we need to keep moving forward.
Beautiful words from Senator Crystal Asige. Please go listen to her EP, Blinding Allure, that's out now. We are steady on the grind for this musicians union. If you can, we will, go reach out to the registers of unions.
So contact me if you need to know how to do it. How to do it.
What's your Instagram everywhere?
Crystal Asige everywhere.
Okay.
Or you can look for VIP, which means visually impaired person.
I've never seen that, but I saw that, said, I like what you did there, Miss Crystal. Anyway, so thank you so much for listening, and until the next one, it's been the Proof of Concept podcast with Valerie Mudhoni.